These very interesting individuals.
Remember the outrageous childhood dreams we all harbored once? Perhaps as a famous movie star who's always greeted by flashing camera lights. Or an intrepid explorer where no place is off limits. And then we grew up. And reality sank in. The childhood dream begins to fade away. But wait, instead of giving up the ambition of your youth, there's always a second-best alternative.
My childhood dream was when I was about 8 or 9 years old. I wanted to be an international rugby player, or play rugby league for Australia or something like that. And then kind of found out that I didn't really grow as fast as everyone else. So I was always like the short guy. So that now that childhood dream of being a sports star is probably not going to happen. But being a sports manager is probably pretty close to it.
The entire sports program in Club Med Bintan is run by 26-year-old Mike and his 23 staff. This outdoorsy and sociable Australian looks into how efficiently run different sports stations are, the safety aspects, as well as creating sports-related activities for hotel guests. Not bad for a hotel tourism management graduate who really just wanted to have fun for a living. Yet leaving home for greener pastures wasn't easy for this only son in the family. Young and fresh out of school, Mike has had more than his fair share of cultural shock.
When I first arrived, I was pretty much only speaking English, and we had a group of Japanese that came for a golf lesson. I remember I was going through how to explain going through, and I was speaking very fast when I first arrived, and I had a very strong Australian accent, and they're always like, hi, yes, 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 yes. And so we did a lesson, like I spoke for about maybe 10 minutes or so, giving the lesson, and then I was like, okay, let's start. And then they were just like, because I think it's because the culture for Japanese is they're very agreeable people like this. They're great people. They're always agreeable, but I think that no one there had any idea what I was saying.
Then today is Mike's lucky day. I may not be the sportiest person around, but at least language is no barrier. So windsurfing, here I come.
We got a little bit of wind today. As you can see, it's a beautiful day like normal here in Bintan Island. So we're going to give it a go, and we're going to hopefully get you out and give you a basic idea of how we can go.
All right.
Ready?
So, have you tried this yourself?
I've tried. I'm not as good as this Nicola. That's why I've got his assistant over here. He's a professional windsurfer, so he's going to help us out.
Okay, safety issues for people who come to the resort to try this for the first time. What do we need to know? What do you
First
tell?
of all, you need to know how to swim.
Okay.
Yeah. You need to be a good swimmer. So,
So, Brian, how do you ensure that your guests are, fit enough to try and do?
A lot of the time we'll do like a little swimming test with them as well. So depending on their ability, a lot of them they'll tell us straight away, look, I can't swim, and then we might advise them to do some of our land sports. We've got archery, we've got golf. So some of the times they won't come down. We also offer kayaking. Kayaking, they wear the wetsuit and the jacket and stuff like that. So there we have some safety precautions put on the jacket. We have a few age restrictions as well, because doing something like windsurfing, it takes a kind of physical kind of person to do something like this. So we've got little restrictions that are in place that are set by Club Med worldwide and must follow.
Okay. All right, let's give it a try.
Here we go.
The hard part of his job is, as a sports manager, he has to know all the sporting and recreational activities available in the resort. He has to know how to do them all, has to know all the safety precautions that have to be put in place for customers. And I don't think that's very easy. I personally tried windsurfing myself, and it's not one of the easiest things to do, not in an open sea like that. I can't even stand on the surfboard or hold myself steady.
And that's not all Mike does in a day of his life. As the day winds down, the sports manager dons yet another cap. He dances and performs, all in the name of keeping the guests entertained.
It's either for you or it's not for you. You gotta really like being around people. being active and always on the job, because it's a real lifestyle thing. It's a 24-hour thing pretty much. You don't get a lot of time to yourself, but in saying that, you get so much time with the guests and you get to have fun with the guests and hang out with the guests. So for sure, communication I think is a huge factor you need to have.
Amazing how Mike can actually go on his daily activities wherever he's working during the day and extend it through to the night for the performances and hosting a show. I know myself, it's not easy to host anything and put in so much energy doing hosting gigs and keeping people entertained.
A sports star he will never be. But in terms of attitude and personality, Mike is already a bright, shining star. And who says settling for second best doesn't pay?
The largest case of identity theft the U.S. courts have ever pursued. Credit card numbers totaling more than the entire population of Japan stolen by a gang of 3. How did they do it? We have the latest on Primetime News.
The source of photography's richness is that anyone can bring their personal vision to any scene or situation. In this first episode, we'll take a look at the massive construction work behind Resorts World Sentosa and the School of the Arts, all with cameras in hand. Welcome to Scene City, Singapore, premiering Wednesday, 19th August, 8:30 p.m, exclusively on Channel News Asia.
Saturday on Japan Hour. It's time to hone your skill, speed and agility, all in the name of the game. Go back in time for nostalgic game treats, all at the Showa 30s Village. Then pick up some tips and tricks from the master of illusion and humor. Finally, feel the beat to see if you have what it takes to play with a Shinon drum group. Bring out your hidden talent on Japan Hour, Saturday at 7:30 p.m.
This program is brought to you by Sumitomo Corporation, ANA All Nippon Airways, Calbee, Canon, Daikin, Fanco, MSIG Insurance Solutions, NEC, Pilot Pen, UOBTravel.com, and Yakult.
What I get paid to.
Ryan Xia is known among family and friends for doing things differently. This 29-year-old may have graduated with a degree in industrial design, but soon found his niche in the financial sector. For 3 years, Ryan ran alongside with the bull market and earned a comfortable living as a financial advisor. All that changed when the global economic downturn hit last year. While many saw it as an unprecedented crisis in modern history, Ryan saw an opportunity for a radical career switch.
Hi, I'm Ryan, and I get paid to enjoy the sun, the sand, and the sea.
From the city to the Changi Jetty, Ryan traded his stuffy suit and tie for casual wear that is definitely more befitting a fish farm owner. Together with his partner Ko Eun Cheng, they set up a marine farm northeast off Singapore's mainland.
This whole dream is about you want to be your own boss. Really, this time you really want to be a boss under your own flag. Being a financial advisor, you're your own boss, but that's 80% own boss. Being this, you're really a 100% own boss.
With the recent structured notes debacle and the Madoff Ponzi scheme expose, financial advisors were regarded by some as unscrupulous salesmen driven by greed. And it was during the maelstrom of confusion and chaos that Ryan chose to leave the financial industry. In a case of the devil and the deep blue sea, Ryan chose the latter. With the savings he earned as a financial advisor, Ryan plowed it right back into the sea. A grand total of 100,000 Sing dollars into this fish farm. Situated 3 kilometers from Pasir Ris Beach at a size of 2,000 square meters, few, if any, would see potential in this 20-year-old floating farm. But Ryan did, and named his company Tai Kong Lobster and Fishery, which literally means outer space in Mandarin. Just as man is unable to survive in outer space without oxygen, Ryan is like a fish out of water by choosing a path he has absolutely no experience in.
When I just started this business, we can't even differentiate between a dead lobster and a lobster that molted. We look at the shell, hey, suddenly we thought that, hey, a lot of lobsters just died. But we pull out, after counting, we realized that we have more lobsters than we started off with. Our experience is as low as that.
For a newbie trying to enter an entrenched industry, he is treated with guarded skepticism by the veterans. Knowledge is seldom shared, and Ryan is pretty much learning on the job. According to him, there are about 100 coastal fish farms in Singapore, each with a different specialization. Ryan has chosen to focus on primarily lobsters because of higher demand. He imports baby lobsters from countries such as Vietnam and Indonesia to rear them in his farm. It takes as long as 10 to 18 months for the lobsters to be fully grown. The real profit comes when the entire stock of fully grown lobsters gets sold off. Until then, the wait can be long and income nearly non-existent. In the meantime, the bulk of Ryan's time is spent maintaining and repairing the farm. For the uninitiated, a fish farm is highly labor-intensive. For instance, the entire farm is kept afloat by flotation drums, which need to be changed on a regular basis.
Time to time, for this float, we have to actually replace the old ones from below and remove the barnacles, because all the barnacles, all these add weights to the whole thing. So we need to take it out and remove the barnacles and change new ones in.
Simply put, there are no rules out in the sea except for that of nature. It demands to be respected, and Ryan experienced nature's wrath recently. His farm was badly damaged by a heavy storm.
The whole rooftop, everything has collapsed, and we have removed it. In a couple of days, we'll put it back again.
The damage cost him 1,000 Sing dollars, but thankfully the lobsters and the fish remain unscathed. There have been incidents in other farms where entire batches of fish were killed due to the vagaries of nature. But for now, the sea is calm. Since setting up the farm early this year, Ryan has been spending most of his nights there. But on other days, this bachelor lives with his elderly parents. Both are retired school teachers who get by on their pensions. Without the burden of taking care of a family, Ryan has the freedom to pursue his dream, at least for now.
我们做父母的，从来没有说孩子，我们叫孩子说要怎么样做怎么样做，我们都会让他们自己去选择他们要做的事情。当然，他选择这个工作啊，我们是会有一些担心，因为在海上总是觉得比较危险。我有看过他的 Facebook， 他认为这个是他的梦想 ，his dream， 他喜欢做这个工作，他希望他的人生是跟别人不同的，所以将来他可以把他的这个经验、他的经历、他的故事讲给他的孙子听， 这个是他的想法。
Sometimes just encouraging word from somebody, it just makes you, it just gives you the extra energy to do work, But a lot of people at that time is like, I would say, they had the idea that this is a crazy suicidal kind of thing.
Coming up, can Ryan conquer the sea and prove his critics wrong?
The largest case of identity theft the U.S. courts have ever pursued. Credit card numbers totaling more than the entire population of Japan stolen by a gang of three. How did they do it? We have the latest on Primetime News.
The Prime Minister used the year's biggest political platform to issue a rallying call for unity across different races and religions. As a globally connected multi-faith society, Singapore is not immune to the worldwide surge in religiosity. Insight looks at the issues. Thursday, 8:30 p.m.
Few have come this close to predators and survived.
Hey, bear. Hey.
Next on Animal Night, get dangerously close to the grizzly bears of Alaska on Bear Feeding Frenzy. Tomorrow, 9 p.m. only on Octo's Animal Night.
Tomorrow on Primetime Morning, the outrageous Lady Gaga. Apart from the music, there is the fashion sense.
I love all the clothes I wear. I think they're art.
Love her, hate her, but don't miss our one-on-one. Plus, every morning, we'll keep you updated with all that is happening in the news and in the business world. Mondays to Fridays with Primetime Morning.
What I get paid to.
Growing up, Ryan has always been fascinated by the sea. So curious about what lies beneath the infinity waters that the young Ryan rushed to discover its secrets without even knowing how to swim. But the sea has a way of teaching us a lesson or two about life.
When I was young, I almost drowned in the sea. When I was like 3-4 years old. I fear it, but I still like it. It's more of the quietness and the vastness of the sea that actually I find it more appealing to me. These are the main qualities that actually appeals to me. Gives me a real sense of my own space. Yeah, sometimes I compare the sea to the city. I think only in the sea, that's a place I can find my own space, my own place to think and contemplate.
Today, Ryan has made peace with the unfathomable force that almost took his young life, and a special affinity remains. So much so, he decided to combine his two loves, good food and sea, into a business venture.
For me, I have a passion for sea. It gives me a sense of adventure from the inside, in a sense that the sea is something deep down inside, is something that I want to actually conquer.
A few months after Ryan started running his fish farm, he was faced with an obstacle. To supplement his income, he used to bring his produce to the Pasir Ris beach to sell to customers who live in the vicinity. But recently, the Coast Guards would stop and fine anyone who makes a landing here.
My farm is just over there. Then in the past, we used to use our speedboat to bring the fish and lobsters, everything, up to the beach over here, and we'll pass it to our customers at the beach here. But nowadays, the Coast Guards are much more stricter on this landing. They have, nowadays, they do not let us land here anymore. So in terms of customers, we did lose quite a bit of customers that actually stays around this region. And we have to go all the way up to Changi Point to pass our goods to customer. In terms of the traveling, it has increased from 5 minutes ride to 20 minutes.
As a result, Tai Kong's business fell by as much as 50% because of the change of location from Pasir Ris to Changi Point. Customers are unwilling to travel all the way to Changi Point to pick up their seafood. In the past, he could offer free deliveries for a minimum of $200 orders. But these days, higher fuel consumption and increased traveling time have made free deliveries unfeasible.
For the time being, we have to put our orders at a higher minimum order. And in terms of deliveries, put a charge to it. But sometimes it's not really about that charge, that money to cover this expense kind of thing. Sometimes it's about the time. You see, if up and down it takes us 40 minutes. If one day there's like 4 orders at 4 different timing, a whole day is gone. Yeah. So at the end of the day, sometimes you can't really do it. It's not a matter of you don't want to do it. It's not really a matter of, okay, because the money is so little, profit is so little, we don't want to do it. But sometimes it's just that it's really a matter of we can't really do it because of the time.
Cutting off all deliveries, however, will be dire for the company. To build up Tai Kong's branding so that customers will remember his fledgling company, Ryan continues to provide delivery service. Technology, too, has created a level playing field for newbies like Ryan. Most of his customers know of his company through social networking site Facebook, though a handful of them are friends and clients from his financial advisory days.
I have to show some form of support. We became patrons and patronize his products. And also, I think, pretty simple terms, he's offering a better deal from what other people are offering. So it's a win-win situation. How much is it?
Business is business regardless of friendship. They knew each other since their undergraduate days. It didn't surprise Chen Han that Ryan took a path less traveled.
Ryan, from what I knew him from them, he wasn't typical guy, I would say. From then, most of our classmates would come to know him as someone who would not hesitate to step out of the box to venture into things which he felt there were some ways for him which he could gain.
Ryan pays himself and his partner, Mr. Ko Eung Cheng, a measly $500 each month. His choice of a partner merely confirms how atypical Ryan is. Mr. Ko was a triad member. They met at a coffee shop near, where else but by the beach. When Ryan learned that Mr. Ko was a fisherman, he wanted to enlist his help to run his business. But the older man was reluctant at first. It took the younger man a year to win over his trust. Today, Mr. Ko is Ryan's trusted ally. Yet Ryan would be the first to admit that if nothing is ventured, nothing would be gained.
I'm a very poor judge of character, actually. I use a lot of wrong people in my life, actually. I mean, during marketing, when I was doing marketing, I used wrong person. Doing finance, I used wrong person. But, you would totally lose out when you stop using, Definitely, you got to take some risks, the only way not to make mistakes is not to do anything.
It's early days yet for Ryan. He has given himself 2 years to make the fish farm profitable. If it doesn't, he will go back to being a salaried man. And he would have been happy to have given his dream a shot. But until then, the adventure has only just begun.
When in Korea, everybody loves pickled baby shrimp. Find out why these tiny morsels are such a hit and learn the secret of making them. Treat yourself to some festival fun. Start by sampling delicacies at a food fair. Showcase your skills at an apple fair. And cap the night with a spectacle of colors. All these and more on Dynamic Korea. Saturday at 8:30 p.m.
This is brought to you by Korean Air, Samsung, LG, and Far East Organization.
A concrete reminder of the Cold War. A symbol of division between Eastern and Western Europe, of communism and democracy. For 28 years, it reinforced ideologies, separated families, and witnessed deaths. Until it came tumbling down. Remembering 1989, life after the riots and
The scent of a woman, delicate, intimate, and personal. Presented in exquisite bottles such as these. And would you ever guess it is a man who scours the world over for such collectibles? But Johari Kazura is no mere perfume bottle collector. He is a modern-day alchemist who combines raw materials into bespoke fragrances. This 34-year-old comes from a family that knows a thing or two about making people smell good. His family has been in the perfume business since 1933. But Johari does not sell the usual commercial scents you can find in any department store. His job is to create and sell completely unique concoctions made right here in a mini lab at the back of his store. Want your own scent J-Lo style? Johari is the man to go to.
Some women think it's great that I know women better than other people because I make perfume for women. And that's not true at all. It's just something that I do.
Alongside several of his father's stores dotted around Singapore's Arab Street district, Johari recently opened up his very own branch with a difference. From contemporary new look to more customized scents, Johari hopes to lure a more discerning clientele.
A lot of our perfumes are actually formulated in a way that you actually have to put it on. You're not going to get to the heart of the perfume when it's really about in the first 2 minutes of it. It's not something you spray on a little strip. You wave it and then I like it, or I don't. It's something that you're supposed to put on you, walk around for a bit, let the perfume heat up. Smell yourself and see if you like it, and you come back. It becomes more of a discovery rather than an impulse purchase.
Growing up, Johari never thought he would end up in the family business. He went to the United States, obtained an economics degree from the University of Michigan, and lived in San Francisco for several years. But when the dot-com bubble burst, by the turn of the millennium, Johari found himself without a job in the U.S. He then returned home and started helping out with the family business. Yet perfume making for Johari is always more about self-discovery rather than preserving his family legacy.
It's not just so much I want to be doing perfumes as much as it's an avenue to travel, to find new things out, to get to meet people. So it's a means to an end. Yeah. And who knows, I might discover something else that I really like while I'm doing perfumes. Even while setting this shop out, I found out I really like old things. And I actually got that because I'm doing perfumes, so it's a means to an end.
When Johari set out to become a perfumer, this book from his late grandfather proved pivotal. It contained a comprehensive list of perfume suppliers all over the world, some of whom his grandfather visited in his lifetime. Johari retraced his grandfather's footsteps recently and gained a newfound respect for him in return.
An Indian man from Singapore who was walking around Europe, and I don't think English was as prevalent. He didn't speak any European languages. And the countries I see is like France, Germany, Portugal, Belgium. I actually appreciated it, and for me to find some of these places, it was actually hard. It must have been so much harder for him.
Johari would be the first to admit that he is not a nose, a term used to describe best perfumers in the industry. To be a nose, it is not enough to have a superbly keen olfactory sense. You also have to be an apprentice for a minimum of 6 years. Many do not make the grade. So, do I have what it takes? Johari gave me a chance to create a sample for one of his customers, Karen.
Okay, so now that we know what the customer wanted out of a perfume, let's start working on something.
Okay.
What's the first thing I need to know?
Well, perfumes, they have 3 layers to them. That's the basic thing. First is the top note. The top note, as you can guess, is the first thing that you smell. Middle is a little bit later, and the base note is at the end of the day.
So what's the significance of all that? I mean, if I put it on me...
For example, if you made a perfume with only ingredients that had the bottom note, the base note on it, it wouldn't have zest. It wouldn't have a punch to it. If you used a perfume that was only top note, it would be on you for, say, 20 minutes, then it's gone. Karen was interesting. She wears perfect suits to work every day.
Okay.
For her office, she's got 3-inch heels. She likes calming teas. So it kind of tells me the type of person that Karen is.
Okay, but what if everything she told us she liked, I mean, what if they don't really go along together?
That is a risk. That's why when I'm doing it, I have a few different variations.
While trying out various scents, I discovered that a commonly used ingredient can actually originate from something quite unimaginable.
It's from the ambergris whale. They eat these shellfish, and they actually regurgitate out all the undigested bits. And what happens is it floats on the top of oceans, and it washes up on beaches or gets caught in fishermen's nets. And it's really stinky when it's fresh. But as it dries up, it has this beautiful warm note. And it's in most perfumes that you smell out there.
So one mammal's vomit is actually another one's perfume.
It is worth more than its weight in gold.
And finally, I have a concoction for Karen. I decided to name it Me.
So you think she would like this? I mean, it's very manly.
It is very manly.
Which is probably why I like it.
Well, I love it. But will Karen like the sample I made? Find out when we return.
What I get paid to.
Celebrating its 10th anniversary amid an economic downturn, the President's Challenge plays an even greater role in helping the less privileged. A series of charity events will combine the efforts of both the public and private sectors.
I urge everyone in Singapore to participate, with everyone doing a little bit something for another person who needs help.
Find out how you can support the President's Challenge. The President's Challenge, celebrating 10 years of giving.
The White House reappoints Ben Bernanke as central bank chief for another term. Some say he's done a good job so far managing the crisis, but is he the man to take U.S. economic recovery to the next level? That's on Primetime News.
Business or pleasure?
Pleasure.
Well, in that case, welcome, my friends.
Probably the best beer experience in the world. Carlsberg. It doesn't get any better than this.
The global credit crunch. It's a financial meltdown out there.
I know it's costing people a lot of jobs. My aunt has been retrenched.
My dad just recently has been retrenched.
But retrenchment doesn't have to be the end of the world if you have the right tips to survive. The Vox. Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. exclusively on Channel News Asia.
The time of reckoning has arrived. Will Karen like my creation?
So, Karen, you came in a few days ago and you wanted a few perfumes. And I made some samples for you. But you're also getting an extra one that Tim here has made for you as well. And today, you get to try all of them.
And give us your real honest opinion
Yes,
about the one.
real honest opinion.
Because I like it personally.
Yes.
Okay, so what do you think so far from the three? The first one?
So, the first one's my favorite. I think. Wait a minute. Yeah, this is a strong rose.
The first one is citrusy.
Yeah, it's lighter. I like, yeah. The third one is kind of masculine.
Can you guess who made the third?
Is that right?
Yeah.
This would be Tim's.
Yeah. It's my favorite. I would wear it.
You would wear it?
Yeah, I would
okay,
wear it.
but not me. For us, we live in the U.S. We're only in Singapore for a few years, and this to us is something that we'll remember forever about Asia. You just, in the US, you can't go somewhere and have a perfume made for you. And I think you can do it in the UK, but it's like 15,000 pounds or something to have, and so this is just something special. I mean, the location too, there's something kind of, I think, mystical and magical about this area of Singapore.
Arab Street is an important center in Singapore. Other than the years Johari spent in the United States, his entire life has been encompassed within this neighborhood.
So this is where you grew up?
Yeah, this is where I grew up. This used to be a road, and now it's a nice pedestrian mall, and you have cafes and hostels. And an interesting bookshop over there, and a lot more Arabic food, I guess. And
it becomes a tourist spot.
It is a tourist spot, but it still maintains a lot of character. A lot of the businesses have been in this area for a very long time. For example, ours. We've been here for 70 years. Some of the carpet shops have been here.
But some are relatively new.
Yeah, but they it brings a new energy to the place, I think.
So do you think it changed for the better?
It is changing. It's growing. It's growing, and I'm excited to see what it'll turn out.
But is it still authentic?
It is still authentic. Like the food, the carpets, the perfumes, the fabric. That's very authentic.
And this is where it all started for Johari. He spent his childhood here, playing with vials and flasks that contained fascinating smells with the strangest of names.
So this is the shop house that I grew up in. We use it as a warehouse, and we do some of our blending up here and packaging. As you can see, it's just filled with all kinds of things.
And I can hear your bird.
Yeah, that's a cockatoo that we've had for about 25 years now.
Okay, so you grew up with the bird
I grew up with the bird as well.
All right, so these are all the raw materials
that we use, and actually up there was my old room. I had the attic back then.
Let's have a look at the old room.
Yeah, let's go up.
You don't sleep here anymore, do you?
No, I don't. So,
this is your room.
Yeah, this was my room.
Was your room?
Yeah. It was a nice little attic, and I got a view of the mosque from back there. And yeah. And here's a picture of Basora Mall. We walked off before it was closed off.
So this is what it looked like. I guess this would be in the 70s.
In the 70s or 80s, yeah.
Yeah. There you go, and see how much it changed now.
It is clear that Arab Street is as much a part of Johari as he is a part of it. From growing up in one of the shop houses to setting up his business here, Arab Street is where he works hard and plays even harder. And when night falls every Thursday, Johari and his friends will gather at this back lane to practice what they term as movement art. It is a relatively new art form in Singapore. As such, they have complete freedom to develop it in whatever form they wish. And it's what excites this community of like-minded souls.
And over here, just finding friends, finding people who share your same passion. This whole movement arts, the fire stuff, the poi, it's actually quite a new art. So people are still finding out new things and doing new things. So even though we haven't been doing it for a long time, I've been doing it for about 5 or 6 years, anything that I find can still be new. There's a lot of freedom in that. And I think that's kind of the same thing that I'm doing with the perfume business. It's kind of an old art, but I'm just trying to bring my own take on it, just finding out new concoctions, new moves, It's a different kind of alchemy.
A bohemian at heart, Johari is a modern-day perfumer whose curiosity for the world knows no boundaries. Be it playing with fire or creating new scents, Johari simply wants to weave magic wherever he goes. Coming up, would you like a job where you get paid to drink? Find out who has this dream job.
The White House reappoints Ben Bernanke as central bank chief for another term. Some say he's done a good job so far managing the crisis, but is he the man to take U.S. economic recovery to the next level? That's on Primetime News.
We want more. We want more. I'm a Singapore citizen, not a PR, not a foreigner.
And why should Singaporeans get more?
Because this is our home, not theirs. Bottom line is, we want more privileges.
Watch us battle it out with our guests on Blog TV.
Thursday at 9:30 p.m. on Channel News Asia.
Tomorrow, the theatre auditions continue with an idol first.
For an original song, we would pick it up and play that on radio.
The competition is tougher than ever before.
That was the best performance of that song today.
In the end, All of these will lead to the most emotional moment ever in the history of Singapore Idol.
Congratulations, you're on the top 24.
Thank you so much.
Singapore Idol, Top 24 revealed tomorrow at 8 on 5.
When in Korea, visit a training camp for dogs and go head over heels for these cuddly canines. Whether you like it sweet or savory, plain or rich, we show you some of the tastiest porridges you can find in Korea. All these and more on Dynamic Korea, Saturday at 8:30 p.m.
This is brought to you by Far East Organization, Korean Air, Samsung, and LG.
I get paid to.
It is a busy Tuesday afternoon. Everyone is at work, slogging away to earn their keep. And so apparently is this man. Yep, Colin Chia gets paid to drink on a weekday afternoon. And that's just the start of it all. Colin is brand ambassador for Diageo, a leading alcohol beverage distributor. His job revolves around alcohol. Tasting it. Making drinks out of it. Selling it. And teaching people how to sell it. No big surprise, he loves it.
The moment I stepped into a bar, I knew where my heart and soul belonged to. Not because I love drinking. I love drinking, but I think it's a beautiful way of getting to meet new people. It's a job, it's a career where you never get tired of. Just a very gentle press.
Colin may have started out as a mere barback, but today, not only does he no longer work as a bartender, he is practically their guru.
It's for you to taste. Right, don't be shy. Just nose it and taste it. So you know what kind of vodka we are playing with today?
As an alcohol brand ambassador, Colin not only trains bartenders and service staff from all over Asia, he also works with top chefs to organize gourmet cocktail dinners and liquor tasting sessions. So today, Colin is working with Chef Yong, a renowned Cantonese chef, to pair a Chinese dish with whiskey from Scotland.
The role of a bartender is really, really similar to a chef. The only difference is that the chef don't really get to talk to the customers. They don't bear the brunt of the customers, but bartenders do. If the drink goes out too slowly, customers will complain. If you have too much sugar, too much lemon, too much lime, too much alcohol,
Or not enough alcohol.
or not enough alcohol, you bear the brunt to customers. So in that case, I think a bartender's job is slightly more difficult.
And the proof of the pudding is always in the eating.
It's actually very unique because you never get, Asian type of food with an alcoholic beverage.
Yeah, correct. It's pretty rare. But there's some wine dinners now with Chinese influenced cuisine now, right, Chef?
Yes.
We look out for whether the taste clash. If it clash, it creates a very unpleasant taste. And also, if it match perfectly, the acidity of the whiskey actually clears your palate naturally.
Okay.
So that you don't get every lingering unpleasant taste. And that makes you want to have another bite.
Clearly, there's a lot more to bartending than most people realize. There are professional courses for those serious about the art of mixing drinks. Colin has a whiskey master's under his belt and has received further training in technique from the UK.
Many people always think of bartending as just a part-time job, something which they just do for the holidays and just earn the pocket money and just move on to their real-time job. But it's changed now because of the influence of top-notch bartending gurus around the world. Look at New York, look at London, look at Tokyo, for instance. Bartending is a profession. Work hard, know what you're doing, and you will go far.
As for me, I'd rather be served. But let's see how far I can go in the F&B trade.
What you're going to do for us today is what I call a lemon meringue martini.
Okay.
All right. So it's a creation where you're going to have gin, lemon juice, and sugar.
Okay.
And orange liqueur in this drink.
And this is something we're not baking, right?
No, we're not baking, but we are going to torch it. So it's playing your senses. You're going to have something served a la mode.
Okay.
It's cold and hot at the same time. See how good it is? As hard as you can. Your life depends on it. That's why the job of the bartender is actually
not so easy,
Not so easy. A lot of hard work just into one drink.
Okay.
I wish you guys can smell it.
Here is our, what is this drink called?
Lemon meringue martini.
A lemon meringue martini. Cheers.
All right. I'd like to propose a toast.
Other than a teetotaler, a bartender is said to be everyone's best friend. Be it a celebration or to pour one's heart out, the bartender is the only one who doesn't pass judgment when intoxication sets in. But do bartenders themselves get high?
Now, do you get drunk?
Me? Not when I'm working.
Not when you're working?
No, I don't really get drunk.
Oh, come on.
When I do get drunk when I was 18 years old.
Okay, and now?
But now it's not about, I don't drink just to get drunk.
You drink to enjoy your...
I drink to enjoy your spirits. I mean, every bartender has this phase. If a bartender tells me that he has never been drunk in his lifetime, then I would say, bullshit.
How do you get over a hangover the next day? I mean, what's the best tip you can give a customer?
For me, I would drink something, I would eat something soupy, really spicy. So tom yum noodles really cures it. It cures your entire system. And then after that, followed by a Chinese tea.
That's something I should give a try. Tom yum soup after a hangover. Okay, thank you very much.
Pleasure, pleasure.
Saturday on Japan Hour. Want to turn back the hands of time? Visit a nursery and let some cuddly cubs bring out your inner child. Relax on cloud 9 while rejuvenating body and spirit. And check into a resort that will make you go gaga over its amazing views. It's a veritable playground for the young at heart on Japan Hour, Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Japan Hour is brought to you by Sumitomo Corporation, ANA All Nippon Airways, Calbee, Canon, Daikin, Fankel,
MSIG Insurance Solutions,
NEC, Pilot Pen, UOBTravel.com, and Yakult. It's the election set to change the face of Japan. Will there be a historic shift in power?
日本の歴史を塗り替える日が
やってまいりました。
Or will the ruling party emerge unscathed?
我々自由民主党は引き続きこの経済政策を継続します。
Channel News Asia brings you the latest on the parties, the candidates, and the issues in Japan's parliamentary elections. And on polling day, catch
Every day I wake up older. So many people ask me why. Waking up 3 in the morning, getting home way too late. 7 days of 24, walking in these shoes is what I get paid to.
What can you do for a living if you have always been an extreme introvert? How about making your imaginary friends real? Meet Shin, a self-proclaimed craftist who combines both art and craft to create her own toy kingdom.
It makes them laugh. It somehow hits a nerve in them to they think about something that is happy memories, and yeah, so and sometimes the ideas are so quirky and so wild that they love it.
Tucked away on the second floor of a shop house is the showroom, factory, and playground combined. Shin's hands-on approach can be seen from the variety of totes, pouches, clothes, and home deco items dotting the cozy place. But it's the handmade toys that tug at the heartstrings of the young and the young at heart alike. Influenced by her grandmother, who refused to waste anything, Shin breathes life into recycled clothes and scrap fabrics once more. It's not only environmentalism at its cutest, but these used fabrics come with their own little stories woven into the well-worn threads.
I love using recycled materials, recycled clothes, like they have existing pockets, existing zippers, and the different kind of seams that it's in the clothing themselves. I enjoy the part when I see customers bring the little bags of their kids' clothing, when I hear them talk about their children and what happened on the t-shirt when they wore this, you know, oh, she stained, she had this chocolate ice cream stain. I think I enjoy the part where I'm just hearing and people like sharing about their stories with me.
As she transforms outgrown clothes and even fashion faux pas into mementos to be used and treasured again, Shin is actually taking pieces of memories and infusing them with her unique idiosyncrasy and sense of humor. It may seem all play and no work, but Shin had struggled to find her artistic voice. Initially a student who specialized in painting at an art college, she came to find her calling in a needle rather than a paintbrush.
Well, during my graduation year in painting, I kind of switched to sewing because I wasn't very confident with my painting skills. I think sewing gives me the outlet to have fun, to joke, because I was such a quiet kid. I still am a quiet person, and sewing gives me the